Okay, this video is to explain the process of exam number 3. So, for exam number 3, you need your formula chart. This one right here. Okay, you need to print it out and have it, or you can handwrite it if you do not have access to a printer. But you can do it without the formulas, but I would fail the exam if I didn't have the formulas. So I strongly, strongly encourage you to have this formula chart with you when you take the exam. Okay, your exam is Wednesday, April 22nd at 10 a.m. A few of you are taking it at a different time. I will email you and confirm your other time you're taking it at. Otherwise, you're taking it at 10 a.m. Okay, the way that you get to your exam. Under the content section, click on week 14. There should be a module called exam, and starting on Wednesday, it will be hidden until then. You won't see anything under that module until Wednesday, but starting on Wednesday, you will see exam number 3. It's just a quiz on D2L, but you'll click on it. It opens at 10 a.m. So at 9:58, you're not going to be able to click on it. It will open at 10 a.m. I will be in my office at 10 a.m. ready for technical difficulties if things occur. Okay, and I will send out a phone number that you can contact me at my office when we get closer to the exam. Okay, so again, the way you get to your exam is the same way you've been getting to your assignments. It's just going to be called exam number 3. Okay, so there are 13 questions on this exam, and they are not numbered. The reason why they are not numbered is because they are shuffled for everybody. So your question number 1 might be the person sitting next to you in class. It might be their question number 8. So that's the reason why the questions aren't numbered. You have to show your work on these questions because you're going to upload this, and I'll explain that a little bit more in just a little bit. It's for your benefit, honestly, and I'll explain it in just a second. So you have to show your work. So for your problem number 1, you need to number that problem number 1, okay? For your problem number 2, you're going to number that problem number 2. That's going to be different than somebody else's problem number 1 and problem number 2, and that's my job to figure out which problem you're working on. So that I know what your problem number 1 is, you must write the number 1 on there, and you have to write the problem on the short answer problems because it's hard for me to see which problem you're working out if you do not write the problem. Okay, so on your paper, on your own paper, you just write number 1, write the question down, work it out, get your answer, type your answer in on the computer. Okay, you have 60 minutes to complete this exam. It's only 13 questions, so you've got a little more than 4 minutes per question. There's some questions that are only going to take you like 1 minute tops. There may be a question or two that might take you more like 5 or 6 minutes because it's a verifying identity problem or it's a solving equation problem and you need to think about it. Okay, so 60 minutes is going to cut you off after 60 minutes and not let you work any further on it. Okay, there is 1 question per page on the quiz, and once you answer that question, you cannot go back to it. So I'm saying that not to stress you out at all, but just do your best. Once you feel like you've done your best on it, move on to the next question. Don't spend 30 minutes on 1 question, okay? So the questions are, there are some multiple choice questions and there are some short answer questions. On the short answer questions, you're typing math in a computer. I get it, that's not the most easiest thing to do ever. So do your best to write your answer and I'll check your work. So I did this on the review video. So if this was the answer, pi over 6 plus 2k pi, 11 pi over 6 plus 2k pi, and k is an integer, I have this as like on the question. It says write your answer, for example, and I have an example like this. So write pi with a pi over 6 plus 2k pi. Or you could type it out in words, like you write over 6 if you wanted to. That's fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at your answer. Like when you finish the quiz, it's not going to grade it because technically it would count this wrong because probably you don't have the exact same spaces and words and everything that I would type in for the answer here. So on say this is number 3 on your paper, on your quiz, it would count number 3 wrong. I go in, I read your answer. If I can read your answer and see that you did it correctly, awesome. I'll go to your work on number 3 after you upload your work and I'll look and see, oh, they did have this. They just typed it in funny and it didn't make sense or whatever. So I am going to go back and check all your work, especially for the short answer problems. So talking about that, you have to upload your work after the exam. Okay, so you're going to upload your work within 10 minutes of completing the exam. So after 10 minutes, if it's not uploaded and you haven't emailed me with a timestamp showing me that you tried to upload it, it's going to be a problem. Okay, so you have to upload your work within 10 minutes. And the way you're going to upload your work, it's going to be like a homework assignment, the way you normally upload your homework assignment. So go to content, week 14, it'll be under assignment, and it'll be called exam number 3 work. And there'll be a place for you to put your, to submit your work there. Okay, and it has to be within 10 minutes of completing your exam. So the reason why I'm making you upload your work is so that on number 3 on your test, this is number 19 because this is the review problem that worked out, but pretend like this is number 3, on your answer blank where I read it, it doesn't really make sense. I go back and check it and it's like, oh yes, they totally know what they're doing, okay? It's also to make sure that you know you're not just typing it in like an equation solver and getting the answer that way. I need to see all your work here, okay? I think that is everything you need to know for your exam. The big things are make sure you have your formula chart with you. Make sure you start it. I'd set multiple alarms to make sure you start it right when it opens. You click on it. You have to show all your work for every single problem so I can check your work. If you do not submit sufficient work for your solutions, you may not get full credit for that problem. So make sure you show all your work for every single solution. And the other thing, don't skip a problem because you can't go back to it once you move past it. So make sure you do every single problem. Okay? If you have any questions about any of that, please email me and ask whatever questions you have, and I will try to clarify that.